what you're saying is suggesting is, we should learn programming as finance professionals? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And with ChatGPT, I think some of these are getting solved, but it is absolutely an important skill. When I was at Myntra, except the core controllership team, which had, like, of course, there were qualified chartered accountants, etc. On the business finance side, there were actually no CAs. Actually, they were from engineering background because, a role of business finance in an e-commerce company was all around analytics and data, and there were no data at that scale which could fit in Excel, right? So you had to actually run queries and codes to even derive. And I remember during my Wipro days, everything was on Excel, and there were people who were good in Excel who could make pivot tables, right? That was the key skill set for a lot of people. To Raghav's point, even if you don't look at that future, I don't see a role for data aggregation by, it's about what insight you can make from there is the real skill, right? I mean, somebody can query the data and pull it out, but how can you actually ask the right question, ask the right query? And I think, and even in Flipkart, I'm sure the same is in other e-commerce companies. There are a lot of finance roles that are actually business finance, data science
IT
roles
Delhi guys come in and
are actually not non.
Flipkart has a lot of bias for IT Delhi as well.
Yeah.
So in last 2 companies that I worked with, I formed a business finance team that's engineers who've done their MBA from IIM or a top B school, and also sponsored them for programs to go and learn Python, and we build our own BI too. That's very much the requirement today. Without that, I don't think a finance team can function. So it's happening, as you said.
I think 20 years ago, I mean maybe 22, 23 years ago when I was DY, I think 25% of the risk advisory team, which we call internal audit, right, were engineers. So in fact, my risk advisory team in my current organization is one of the guys from, he's an IIT Delhi guy. He's an NIT and IIT Delhi. So I think the way they think is very different, and the only way we can match up to them is not just the finance side of things. Like I think everyone has been telling, I think the business side is where we can get that edge and then put this whole thing together.
As there is more thrust for automation and organizations aiming for leaner structures, what will be the far-reaching impacts on the roles in the future? How can finance professionals within this age group equip with the new skills, and what will be those skills?
So the way I see this evolving, and I'm very interested in what any of the folks on the panel have to say. You'll get to a point where it becomes largely plan and analyze as 2 aspects of finance. Plan is going to be increasingly, and I'm sure I'm going to get some virulent disagreements to what I'm saying, but plan is going to be based on what happened last year. The whole idea of starting with a plan where it's bottom up, top down, all that's going to change. I see over a period of time, how did we do last year, make some changes to what's going to happen. And I can say in some companies that I've worked with, they think the planning process should come down from a month and a half to maybe 4 or 5 days. Because you already know what you've done, you know what the industry cycles are like, just based on that top down you give it. So all the people who spend time on months and months of planning, they're going to find themselves without a job. Right? So that's one thing very clearly. Analyze is going to be a big part of it. And there too, at some level, analyze is becoming more table stakes. So you're not going to be a finance person that you were 1 year back or 5 years back. You're going to have to be almost like a BD person who knows finance better than the BD person. That's my take. I see the number of finance people through transformation efforts decreasing significantly. There are going to be pools of common resource where everything is going to become a common skill, and because of bringing them together, you're going to need less people.
I think it depends on the business. Fundamentally, I think automation largely today is going to continue on cost reduction. I don't think so much
There will be bias for cost reduction.
there will be a bias. There will be continue to kind of bias for cost reduction unless you're in some clear technology industries where you're looking at technology intervention for revenue generation.
In fact, I work with a company where I'm the fractional CFO, whatever. So this is a personalized cancer therapy for a guy. What they do is they take out my cancer cells if I have cancer, they treat it to fight against my own. So it's a specialized thing for each and every one, right? So it is getting there. I think tomorrow we'll hear about what kind of news I want to read in a newspaper, kind of a thing, right? It's going to come. So I think as finance guys also, probably it makes sense to figure out where you want to go, where do you want to focus, and how do you want to consume things.